On the news tonight, House Committee on Environment, Oil and Gas commend ministers for living up to expectations. State Head of Service gives 2 weeks ultimatum to unauthorized civil servant on study leave. President Bola Tinubu approves dissolution of Nnamdi Azikiwe Governing Council. And abroad, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump nominates World Wrestling Entertainment WWE billionaire Linda McMahon as Education Secretary. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us for Delta TV News at 8. I am Blessing Usiagbada. The State Head of Service, Mr. Reginald Bayoko, has directed all public and civil servants who have traveled abroad without requisite permission or whose authorization has expired to report back to their duty post within 2 weeks. The initiative is aimed at enforcing discipline and accountability in the state's public service. Mr. Bayoko has also mandated all ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, to compile a list of officers who have traveled abroad since 2018, indicating whether they obtained proper authorization or have overstayed their approved period, and a comprehensive report submitted by December 2. The head of service warned that accounting officers, directors and immediate supervisors would bear direct accountability for any regulatory breaches, including the recovery of salaries disbursed to absent officers from the responsible officials. According to a government circular number TM3/57/TI/46 dated November 11, 2024, failure to comply with the directive would lead to immediate and decisive disciplinary measures, including summary dismissal. Reaffirming the administration's commitment to high standards and ethical governance, Mr. Bayoko called on all NDAs to ensure prompt and complete compliance, stressing that the integrity of the service hinged on collective adherence to rules and regulations. The head of service also implored public servants to respect established protocols for overseas travel, while also reiterating the importance of cultivating a culture of responsibility and compliance. He maintained that officers' dedication was paramount to maintain the excellence and dependability of the Delta State Public Service. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori recently voiced strong dissatisfaction over officers who leave their duty post for overseas trips without permission, yet continue to draw salaries, undermining the integrity of the service. The chairman of the Delta State Civil Service Commission, Lady Rosalyn Amioku, has called on stakeholders to initiate activities that will support the growth and development of the girl child. Lady Amioku made the call when a delegation from the Professional Women Accountants of Nigeria, PROWAN, visited her in Asaba. Henry Usiayo reports.
Lady Amioku said it was good when women venture into professions considered as men professions and encourage the association to be more involved in programs that will encourage the training of the girl child for them to achieve their potentials. She gave an assurance that female accountants in the state civil service would be allowed to go for training and promised the commission's partnership.
I'm in support of that we are doing, especially the girl child. A lot of these droppers from school, there are a lot of droppers, because of financial aids. Many of them are droppers.
The training of accountants is paramount and is highly needed.
The state coordinator of PROWAN, the female wing of Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, Mrs. Tosan Eribara, said the visit was to appeal that accountants in the commission be allowed to attend training. She stressed that training and retraining of accountants would build their capacity and motivate them to give their best towards the actualization of the dreams and objectives of the more agenda of the state government.
Ma, we know that you have done a lot in the aspect of training in the CSC. We want to commend you for that. Well, we also wish to ask you to use your good office to ensure that the accountants working in this office and in the offices, in other offices in Delta State, go for their yearly training, as this will aid the state in proper accountability.
What I want you to also do, as we are catching them young, find out from schools, children, because that's the only way we can also help. children, especially the girl child, that is unable to pay school fees, maybe buy books, see whether you can assist from that area.
The female accountant said they had unanimously adopted Lady Amioku as a matron, an award that will be bestowed on her at the association upcoming end-of-year party. Henry Usiayu reporting.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Didi Walsinjak, has unveiled an online portal to enhance the accessibility of government circulars for federal civil servants. Speaking at the launch event in Abuja today, Dr. Walsinjak described circulars as essential tools for governance and administration within the civil service, adding that they provide direction, clarify policies, and ensure that decisions are communicated consistently across the service. She said the new compendium of circulars would improve transparency, efficiency, and effectiveness in the civil service, stressing that the initiative reflects a commitment to modernizing governance. The Director General of the Delta State Orientation and Communications Bureau, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, has commended the Delta State Traditional Rulers Council and the Urobo Progress Union UPU support for the immediate past governor of the state, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa. Dr. Ogenesiwe made the commendation yesterday in Asaba when he participated in a radio program. He said Senator Okowa governed the state meritoriously and ensured that the rotation of power agreement within the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, was not truncated by supporting Governor Sheriff Oborevwori to emerge as the party's candidate from Delta Central Senatorial District in the 2023 governorship poll. Dr. Ogenesiwe mentioned there is nothing wrong with the visit of the traditional rulers and the UPU leaders to Senator Okowa after his brief interface with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. He advised opposition political parties and the media to shun spreading fake news. Dr. Ogenesiwe said Senator Okowa's future political ambition cannot be stopped by his political detractors, adding that the unity, political partnership, and shared vision between Governor Oborevwori and Senator Okowa would continue to wax stronger. Meanwhile, journalists have been commended for positively projecting the infrastructural strides of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori. The Director General of the Delta State Orientation and Communications Bureau, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, made a commendation at the Delta Online Publishers Forum's DOPF retreat and training program held in Asaba. He thanked the DOPF for projecting the good governance strides of Governor Oborevwori. A former Chief Press Secretary to the immediate past governor of the state, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, Mr. Olisa Ifejika, has said that the alleged embezzlement of over 1.3 trillion naira by the former governor is untrue and a calculated attempt to stain Senator Okowa's name. Mr. Ifejika stated this when he appeared on a Delta Television Asaba program, Morning Ride. Ejime Udweme reports.
Mr. Ifejika said it was uncharitable and unfounded for anyone to divert 1.3 trillion naira in 8 years, pointing out that those behind the petition were out to smear the hard-earned track record of service by Senator Okowa. Mr. Ifejika, who is the executive assistant to the incumbent governor on public enlightenment on projects and policies, said that the past administration experienced economic recession for over a year, coupled with other challenges, pointing out that it was through proper planning and high level of transparency that the administration was able to make progress in the first tenure.
He has said it openly that I am open to investigation. Let me tell you that even before this open thing, they have been coming. Yes, the people that come in because these things have been there. More than 1 year, there have been petitions around the same 1.3. It's political. It's about who controls Delta State. It's about 2027. Let's see how we can whittle down their power. Let's see how we can impugn integrity. Let's see how we can do all of that. Nothing. They know, even the authors know that these things they are doing are fallacious, they are ridiculous, they are not there, and they are born out of malice.
He debunked the rumor that Senator Kowa was arrested by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, stressing that his boss honored the invitation of the anti-graft agency upon his return to Nigeria from his foreign trip. Mr. Ifejika said Senator Kowa had no hand in the alleged Premier Trust Bank, hotels, and housing estate, and advised authors of the petitions to channel their energies into actions that would advance peace and development of the state. He said there was no iota of truth in the allegation that projects were inflated, adding that all contracts followed due process and awarded to competent hands for execution. Mr. Ifejika said it was the excellent performance of the former governor that threw him up as vice presidential candidate of the PDP in 2023 presidential election, affirming that it was not true that the state's resources was used to bankroll the election. He said the solidarity visit on Senator Kowa by different groups and prominent individuals after the ordeal was a clear testament that he did well in office and raised the bar of governance in the country.
Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, in 2019 or thereabout, got an award from the World Bank. World Bank is one international concern that cannot be contaminated in any way. They gave Okowa an award for transparency, for exemplary leadership, and all of that. He got it from the World Bank. In this state, National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, a federal government concern, gave Delta states. Delta was the second least in poverty index to Lagos.
He outlined major projects of Senator Kowa to include good network of roads and bridges in both upland and riverine communities, the multi-billion naira Professor Chike Dozier Secretariat at Asaba, Miriam Babangida Leisure Park and Fame Village, Ogoye Floating Market, state-of-the-art hospitals and schools, empowerment and wealth creation programs, among others. He advised journalists to always fact-check news before publishing their reports, emphasizing that most of the write-ups on the social media were unverified claims. Mr. Ifejika gave assurance that Delta was house of PDP and called on those trying to portray leaders of the state in bad light to have a rethink and contribute their quota towards the overall development of the state. Ejime Uduime reporting.
The president and founder of the ICA Music and Entertainment Award and the ICA Excellence Award of Honors, Chief Ika Etumuse, has been honored with this year's prestigious Entrepreneur of the Year for Business Expansion and Consideration Award by the Nigerian Institute of Credit Administration, NICA. The report.
Chief Etumuse, who is also the convener and administrative director of the ICA People Worldwide Association, IPWA, and a fellow of the Institute of Credit Administration, FICA, got the recognition during this year's NICA National Credit Managers Conference held at the Bankers House, CIBN Auditorium, Victoria Island, Lagos, between the 21st and 23rd of October 2024. The Igbodo Ika-born United States of America-based businessman and renowned author of the iconic Ika First Achievers and Event book, also known as the Ika Guinness Book of Records, got the prestigious award in recognition of his outstanding contributions to the credit industry and the social-cultural development of his community and the society at large. Receiving the award, Chief Etumuse, who is the president of the Ika Etumuse Foundation, described the recognition as timely, adding that the gesture would encourage him to do more for the upliftment of the society, particularly the development of the socio-economic needs of his people, as he prepares for this year's edition of the Ika Music and Entertainment Award, Ika Excellence Awards of Honors events, coming up on the 27th of December. He expressed gratitude to the NYSC for the award and commended the body for its efforts in shaping the nation's economy. Chief Etumuse assured the Institute of support as it strives for the growth and development of that sector of the nation's economy. This year's conference had as theme, Credit, Grow Green Economy. The event featured the conferment of Honorary Fellows Award, the investiture of members of the Nigerian credit industry, induction of new fellows, members, and associates.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the dissolution of the Governing Council of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Awka, Anambra State, and the removal of Professor Bernard Ifeanyi Odo as the institution's new Vice-Chancellor. President Tinubu also approved the removal of Mrs. Rosemary Ifeoma Nwokike, Nnamdi Azikiwe University Registrar. The council, led by Ambassador Greg Ozumba Mbadiwe, includes 5 other members: Mr. Hafiz Oladejo, Mr. Augustine Onyedebelu, and Engineer Amioleran Osahon and Fonsho Oyeneyin, retired. A statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu said the sacking of the Governing Council and officials followed reports that the Council illegally appointed an unqualified Vice-Chancellor without following due process. The President also approved the removal of Engineer Ohieku Mohamed Salami as a Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of the Federal University of Health Sciences in Otokpo, Benue State. The decision followed Salami's illegal actions, including suspending the Vice-Chancellor without following the prescribed procedures. The statement said despite the Federal Ministry of Education's call for the unlawful suspension to be revoked, Engineer Salami refused to comply, but resorted to abusive and threatening behavior towards the ministry's directors, including the permanent secretary. President Tinubu further warned the councils not to create distractions in their universities, as his government is focused on improving the country's education standards. The federal government has revoked its previous directives restricting posting of core members of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) to certain establishments, especially oil companies and banks. A memo dated November 18 from the Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, to the NYSC Director General said the lifting of the restrictions will take effect from the start of the 2024 Batch C orientation course. The minister pointed out that the previous NYSC posting policy, which limited posting to 4 sectors, education, agriculture, health, and infrastructure, was established during the tenure of former Minister Malam Bolaji Abdullahi. He said, as the nation battled unemployment, there was urgent need to review the policy in order to expand the opportunity and access for core members to serve in places that are relevant to their areas of study, adding that the restriction would commence with postings to Abuja and Lagos. The Senate has urged the military to collaborate with local communities to establish early warning systems to detect future incursions. The plea was contained in a resolution adopted by the Senate following an alarm raised by former Senate leader Senator Yahaya Abdullahi over the infiltration of a violent terrorist group known as Lakurawa in parts of Sokoto and recently in Kebbi State on November 8, killing 20 soldiers in Mera village. During the debate, lawmakers urged the federal government to take decisive action to prevent further attacks and the group's entrenchment in the region. Senators warned that failure to act decisively could allow the Lukurawa group to expand its operations, spreading terror to other parts of northern Nigeria and potentially threatening national stability. The upper chamber also asked the federal government to deploy an assessment team to the affected areas to evaluate the damage and determine immediate relief needs for the affected families. It called on the military to maintain their presence and vigilance in the affected communities to prevent the Lakurawa group from re-establishing themselves or expanding their operations. The Senate has invoked Section 157, subsection 1, officially removing Mr. Yakubu Umar as the chairman of Code of Conduct Tribunal. He was sacked over allegations of misconduct. Mr. Umar's removal gives way to the official resumption of Abdullahi Bello as the new substantive chairman of the tribunal. 84 senators, which constitutes the two-thirds majority of the Senate, signed in favor of his removal, resolving to forward the resolution to President Bola Tinubu for further action. A bill to amend the Constitution and provide for diaspora voting has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, co-sponsored by the Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, and Honorable Sadiq Abdullahi, seeks to amend the 2022 Electoral Act and provide opportunities for Nigerians in diaspora to vote. The bill was passed for a second reading in July and had been referred to the Committee on Electoral Matters for further legislative action. However, after scaling the second reading, it has been referred to the Constitutional Amendment Committee for further legislative action. The Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, MDCAN, has reiterated its resolve to sustain a 7-day warning strike and consider further actions if the federal government fails to address its demands. The MDCAN president, Professor Muhammad A. Mohammed, disclosed this during a news conference in Kano following the commencement of the nationwide strike on Monday. Speaking to journalists, Professor Mohammed explained that the warning strike was a decision reached at an extraordinary virtual National Executive Council NEC meeting held on November 11, 2024. The meeting followed the expiration of a 21-day ultimatum issued to the government, which he noted had been ignored. Among the key grievances cited by the MDCAN is the failure of the federal government to harmonize the retirement age of medical consultants to 70 years. Professor Mohammed highlighted that as a critical need, given the current shortfall in manpower for training, research, and healthcare delivery. He stressed that there is an urgent need for the federal government to address the retirement age issue to ensure they have enough experts in the system to meet the nation's healthcare and training demands. Another major demand is the universal implementation of the Consolidated Medical Salary Structure, CONMES, for clinical lecturers in Nigerian universities. According to the MDCAN president, the discrepancy in emolument, entry levels, and pension contributions for medical lecturers remain a significant challenge. The MDCAN also called for the immediate removal of the chairman of the Governing Council of Nnamdi Azikiwe University for insubordination and disregard for the Ministry of Education's directive nullifying appointments. Additionally, the association demanded payment of 2023 and 2024 clinical duty allowance arrears, as well as 25% and 35% CONMES arrears for 2023. They also suggested using the recent advertisement for the position of Vice Chancellor at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria as a prototype for future appointments. The MDCAN has given the federal government until the end of the warning strike to address these issues. Professor Mohammed revealed that the NEC would reconvene on Sunday, November 24, 2024, to reassess the situation and decide on the next steps. An audit report has uncovered financial irregularities totaling over 4.64 billion naira in the Federal Ministry of Works housing sector, raising concerns about systemic non-compliance with financial regulations and procurement laws. The findings contained in the Auditor General for the Federation's annual report cover activities between 2020 and 2021 and reveal significant lapses in internal controls under Babatunde Fashola, the former Minister of Works and Housing. The report details several issues, including payments made without proper documentation, extra budgetary expenditures, mobilization fees exceeding approved thresholds, and contracts awarded without following due process. A sum of 1.08 billion naira was paid from the Government Integrated Financial Management Information System account without the requisite payment vouchers, violating paragraph 601 of the Financial Regulations 2009. Also, 546 million naira was transferred to project accounts without adequate documentation or budgetary provision. The Auditor General's report attributed these anomalies to weak internal control mechanisms in the ministry and warned of risks such as fund misappropriation and loss. Despite queries, the ministry failed to respond to these issues. You're watching Delta TV News at 8. Still to come, U.S. President Donald Trump nominates World Wrestling Entertainment WWE billionaire as Education Secretary. Details of this story and many more will come after the short break. Please stay tuned.
The Quest for the Helpless Initiative NGO recognizes exemplary individuals and organizations who have contributed to the development of humanity. They are His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor Lagos State; His Excellency Sheriff Oboroweri, Governor Delta State; His Excellency Yusuf Abbas, Governor Kano State; Mr. Aliko Dangote, Chairman Dangote Group; Mr. Paul Kagame, President Rwanda; Right Honorable Anthony Alburns, Australia; Right Honorable Christopher Luxon, New Zealand. The event comes up on the 15th day of December 2024 at the Admiralty Conference Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time 6 p.m. For sponsorship and advertisement, call 0809-273-7078. Supported by the Mayor of Housing, TSS Multimedia International Limited, Kekes Food Industry, and Tesco's Engineering Limited.
This is the story of how TomTom gave me confidence.
You left so many words and said,
How will I face this crowd? With TomTom, no Lily. Let's do this.
stay confident and stay focused. Breathe for it with TomTom.
Welcome back to Delta TV News at 8. Now the news continues. The House Committee on Environment, Oil and Gas has commended ministries under its supervision for living up to expectations of Deltans. The committee made the commendation when the Ministries of Environment and Oil and Gas appeared before it in continuation of the ongoing budget defense by ministries, departments and agencies. Favor Okafo reports.
Commending the ministries for good budget performance in 2024, the Chairman House Committee and member representing Ughelli South, Honorable Festus Utwama, in company of other committee members, said government was interested in a clean, safe and investor-friendly environment, hence the budget allotted to the ministries. In their budget defense, Commissioner for Oil and Gas and a non-sitting member, Honorable Peter Ovijetobo, said the ministry intervened in crisis in over 15 oil-producing communities and promised to do more.
Is progressive. Actually, we studied the ministry is to mediate between the oil companies and the host communities.
The House Committee on Works and Special Duties also met with the ministries and agencies under its purview, where it advised the Direct Labour Agency to check frequent vandalization of its machines, giving a breakdown of its activities for 2024 and vision for 2025. Commissioner for Rural and Riverine Roads, Mr. Charles Anyagu, who also stood in for the Commissioner for Urban and Highways, Honorable Ruben Uzezi, said both ministries were working in ensuring that jobs awarded were executed in record time. The Director General of the Direct Labour Agency DLA, Honorable Igomena, promised greater outputs in 2025. The House Committee on Information also met with the Ministry of Information alongside its 3 parastatals, led by their management teams, including the General Manager of the Delta Broadcasting Service, TBS Asaba, Mrs. Christine Jobome Emetulu. In an interview, Commissioner for Information, Dr. Ifeanyi Osoza, commended the House Committee for its oversight functions and promised that the media outfits will perform better in the coming year.
Believing God, in 2025 we'll have a better and a more prosperous Ministry of Information.
The Ministries of Lands and Survey, Trade and Investment, Agriculture and Natural Resources, Education, Health, as well as MDAs and the Civil Service Commission all met with their various House committees. Favor Okafo, reporting.
Scene is next as we join our World News Desk.
U.S. President-elect Mr. Donald Trump has nominated World Wrestling Entertainment WWE co-founder and his transition co-chair Linda McMahon as his nominee for Education Secretary. Ms. McMahon led the Small Business Administration during Mr. Trump's first presidency and donated millions of dollars to his presidential campaign. Mr. Trump said Ms. McMahon would use her decades of leadership experience and deep understanding of both education and business to empower the next generation of American students and workers. Mr. Trump had criticized the Department of Education and promised to close it down, a job Ms. McMahon could be taxed with. Her nomination came shortly after Mr. Trump chose Mr. Mehmet Oz as Liberty doctor and former television host to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The 2 selections, along with Mr. Trump's choice of Howard Lutnick for Commerce Secretary, follows a pattern of the president-elect nominating loyal supporters to top roles in his cabinet. The Kenya's Catholic Church has rejected a donation of over $40,000 made by President William Ruto. President Ruto offered the money towards the building of a priest house and as a gift to the choir during Mass on Sunday at the Soweto Catholic Church in the capital, Nairobi. The donation followed a recent statement by Catholic bishops who had hit out at the government for failing to fulfill their electoral promises. Churches have been under pressure this year from young anti-tax protesters who had accused them of being too close to politicians. Following President Ruto's much-publicized donation on Sunday, many Kenyans urged the Catholic Church to reject the money. The president had given over $20,000 in cash, pledged the rest of the money later, and also promised to give the parish a bus. The Catholic Archbishop of Nairobi, Philip Anyolo, said the cash would be returned over ethical concerns and the need to safeguard the church from being used for political purposes. He also declined his other pledges and said a donation of 200,000 Kenyan shillings made by the governor of Nairobi, Mr. Johnson Sakaja, who attended the same service, was also being handed back. The wife of Ugandan opposition figure, Mr. Kiza Besigye, says he has been kidnapped and is now being held in a military jail. In a post on X, Mrs. Winnie Yamyima wrote that her husband had been seized in Kenya's capital Nairobi last Saturday during a book launch event. Mr. Besigye, aged 68, led the Forum for Democratic Change political party, contesting and losing 4 presidential elections against incumbent Mr. Yoweri Museveni, who had been in power since 1986.
Join our business news desk for happenings in the business sector.
A total sum of 1.411 trillion naira, being October 2024 Federation accounts revenue, has been shared among the federal government, states, and local government councils. A statement by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation today said the revenue was shared at the November 2024 meeting of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, held in Bauchi State and chaired by the Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Oluwatoyin Made. The November 2024 FAC meeting was held after the 2024 National Council on Finance and Economic Development, NACOFED, hosted by the Bauchi State Government. The 1.411 trillion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 206.319 billion naira, distributable value-added tax revenue of 622.312 billion naira, electronic money transfer levy revenue of 17.111 billion naira, and exchange difference revenue of 566 billion naira. A communique issued by the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee (FAC) indicated that a total gross revenue of 2.66 trillion naira was available in October 2024. Total deduction for the cost of collection was 97.517 billion naira, while total transfers, interventions, and refunds were 1.159 trillion naira. According to the communique, gross statutory revenue of 1.336 trillion naira was received for October 2024. This was higher than the sum of 1.043 trillion naira received in September 2024 by 293.009 billion naira. Gross revenue of 668.291 billion naira was available from the value-added tax in October 2024. This was higher than the 583.675 billion naira available in the month of September 2024 by 84.616 billion naira. The communique stated that from the 1.411 trillion naira total distributable revenue, the federal government received a total sum of 433.021 billion naira, and the state governments received a total sum of 490.696 billion naira. The local government councils received a total sum of 355.621 billion naira, and a total sum of 132.404 billion naira was shared among the benefiting states as derivation revenue. On the 206.319 billion naira distributable statutory revenue, the communique stated that the federal government received 77.562 billion naira and the state governments received 39.341 billion naira. The local government councils received 30.330 billion naira, and the sum of 59.086 billion naira was shared among the benefiting states as derivation revenue. From the 622.312 billion naira distributable value-added tax revenue, the federal government received 93.347 billion naira. The state governments received 311.156 billion naira, and the local government council received 217.809 billion naira. A total sum of 2.567 billion naira was received by the federal government from the 17.111 billion naira electronic money transfer levy. The state governments received 8.555 billion naira, and the local government councils received 5.989 billion naira. From the 566.00 billion naira exchange difference revenue, the communique stated that the federal government received 259.545 billion naira, and the state governments received 131.644 billion naira. The local government council received 101.493 billion naira, while the sum of 73.318 billion naira was shared among the benefiting states as derivation revenue. In October 2024, oil and gas royalty, excise duty, value-added tax, import duty, petroleum profit, and companies' income tax increased significantly, while electronic money transfer levy and CET levies decreased considerably.
In sports, all the 24 teams that will play at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations have now been confirmed. This follows the completion of the qualifying series yesterday. The last three countries to book their spots are Mozambique, Botswana, and Tanzania. Before today, 21 teams had qualified for the tournament. They are Morocco, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Algeria, DR Congo, Senegal, Egypt, Angola, Gabon, Uganda, and South Africa. Others include Nigeria, Benin Republic, Comoros, Sudan, Equatorial Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, Zimbabwe, Mali, Zambia, and Tunisia. Morocco will host the 2025 AFCON from December 21, 2025 to January 18, 2026. That's our news. Now our thought for the day. People are like books. Some deceive you with their cover, and others surprise you with their content. To end Delta TV News at 8, here are the main points again. House Committee on Environment, Oil and Gas commend ministers for living up to expectations. State Head of Service gives 2 weeks ultimatum to unauthorized civil servants on study leave. President Bola Tinubu approves dissolution of Nnamdi Azikiwe Governing Council. And abroad, we reported that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump nominates World Wrestling Entertainment WWE billionaire Linda McMahon as Education Secretary. That ends Delta TV News at 8. Thank you so much for watching. I am Blessing Usiawada. Have a restful night. Goodbye.